Good evening, everybody. Welcome, welcome. Just grabbing a pen here. All right, there we go. Welcome in, everybody. Welcome. I've got a sticky note up at the very top. We're going through the indictment tonight, everyone. Hello, welcome in. Welcome. Good to see you all. Welcome, welcome. Happy Wednesday. So we did have an indictment, fascinating indictment, everybody. I had to go through it because it's just so interesting. I had to share it with everyone. So I will be going through the indictment tonight. There's lots of really interesting pieces of evidence that's been included and lots of fun and interesting things. Fun and interesting from a legal perspective, just to clarify. If we're looking at it from a legal perspective, it's a fascinating situation. So I will be reading through this indictment tonight. And then at the end, I will go ahead and turn comments on so we can do a Q&A for everyone. But we have an indictment that just came down on the 14th for Alexander Smirnov. Now, I need to be careful that I don't get the bots after me, so I will not be saying his last name. There have been a few problems getting anything posted about this particular person, so I will just be referring to him as the defendant. So forgive me for that. But let me go ahead and get diving right in, everyone. Hopefully I'm in frame okay. Everything looks good to me, but we will dive right in. All right, this indictment comes out of the Central District of California, and we've got a grand jury here that came out with the indictment. If you're interested in following this case, you can pull this case number up online and walk through the docket. It is a very interesting situation. So we have introductory allegations. Remember, everybody, a grand jury indictment just means there's enough evidence to prove probable cause that a particular person most likely committed the offense charged here. We do not have a finding of guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. That's what we have a trial jury for. So here we go. The defendant was a resident of Los Angeles, California in 2020. A, the defendant was an FBI confidential human source. The defendant was a confidential human source, or CHS, with the FBI. As a CHS, the defendant was assigned a handling agent, hereafter called the handler, who was a special agent on an FBI squad that investigated violations of federal criminal law. As a CHS, the defendant provided information to the handler that was then used in various criminal investigations conducted by the FBI. The defendant knew that information he provided was used in criminal investigations because, among other reasons, the handler advised him that he might have to testify in court based on the information he provided on multiple occasions, including but not limited to the following dates here, everybody. The defendant also knew the information he provided was used in criminal investigations because the defendant participated in a number of operations where he was authorized to engage in criminal activity as part of an ongoing criminal investigation. The defendant was admonished by the handler that he must provide truthful information to the FBI when he first became a CHS in 2010 and on multiple occasions thereafter, including but not limited to 2010, 2011, 2012, 2013, 2014, 2015, 2016, 2017, 2018, 2019, 2020, 2021, 2022, and 2023. Again, were all the times he was admonished by his handler that he needed to be truthful. In addition, when the defendant was authorized to engage in illegal activity for investigative purposes, he was further admonished that, quote, under no circumstances may the CHS participate in an act that constitutes obstruction of justice. For example, perjury, witness tampering, witness intimidation, entrapment, or fabrication, alteration, or destruction of evidence, unless such illegal activity has been authorized, end quote. When the defendant was given this admonishment, he signed an FBI form that contained this statement, including on these dates listed. Despite repeated admonishments that he must provide truthful information to the FBI and that he must not fabricate evidence, the defendant provided false derogatory information to the FBI about a public official, number one, an elected official in the Obama-Biden administration who left office in January of 2017, and business person one, the son of public official one, in 2020 after public official one became a candidate for president of the United States of America. As described in greater detail below, in March of 2017, the defendant reported to the handler that he had had a phone call with the owner of the Ukrainian industrial conglomerate, Burisma Holdings Limited, thereafter Burisma Official One, concerning Burisma's interest in acquiring a U.S. company and making an initial public offering, IPO, on a U.S.-based stock exchange. In reporting that conversation to the handler, the defendant also noted that business person one, public official one's son, was a member of the Burisma's board, a fact that was publicly known. 3 years later, in June of 2020, the defendant reported for the first time 2 meetings in 2015 and or 2016 during the Obama-Biden administration in which he claimed executives associated with Burisma, including Burisma Official One, admitted to him that they had hired business person one to, quote, protect us through his dad from all kinds of problems, end quote, and later that they had specifically paid $5 million each to public official one and business person one when public official one was still in office, so that business person one will take care of all of those issues through his dad, referring to a criminal investigation being conducted by then Ukrainian prosecutor general into Burisma and to deal with the then Ukrainian prosecutor general. C. The defendant also reported 2 purported phone calls between himself and the Burisma Official One, wherein Burisma Official One stated that he had been forced to pay Public Official One and Business Person One, and that it would take investigators 10 years to find records of illicit payments to Public Official One. As alleged herein, the events the defendant first reported to the handler in June of 2020 were fabrications. In truth and fact, the defendant had contact with executives from Burisma in 2017 after the end of the Obama-Biden administration and after the then Ukrainian prosecutor general had been fired in February of 2016. In other words, when the public official one had no ability to influence U.S. policy and when the prosecutor general was no longer in office. In short, the defendant transformed his routine and extraordinary business contacts with Burisma in 2017 and later into bribery allegations against public official one, the presumptive nominee of one of the 2 major political parties for president, after expressing bias against public official one in his candidacy. Letter E. When he was interviewed by FBI agents in September of 2023, the defendant repeated some of his false claims, changed his story as to other of his claims, and promoted a new false narrative after he said he met with Russian officials. Sub B. In 2017, the defendant provided the FBI handler with information that Burisma was interested in acquiring an American oil and gas company. On or about March 1st of 2017, the defendant provided information to the handler concerning Burisma for the first time. That information was memorialized in an official record of the FBI on a Form 1023. Hereafter, the 2017 1023. The following is the entirety of what the defendant told the handler in March of 2017 that was memorialized in the 2017 1023. So here is the 1023 form. Let's just make a note so we can come back to that later. During the week of February 27th of 2027, CHS received a telephone call from the Associate One, a subject of prior CHS reporting regarding ties to the ROC. Also on the call was Burisma Official 1, whom CHS understood is the CEO or owner of the Burisma Holdings, the Ukraine. During the call, Associate 1 mentioned that they're interested in acquiring the U.S.-based petroleum business with a market capitalization between $50 to $100 million. They would then use this U.S.-based entity as the parent company for Burisma Holding or a subdivision thereof, which they would then seek to register on a U.S. exchange. The CEO and Associate 1 made statements that led CHS to believe that Burisma Holdings has overstated its corporate assets in various public filings in Ukraine. The individual in Ukraine who is currently assigned to manage this acquisition is Burisma Official 2, whose title is Board Advisor, Director for International Cooperation and Strategic Development. Email at burisma.com. 10-A, this person, a street, or this Rylevia, Kiev, Ukraine, and then official phone number and fax. During the week of March 6th of 2017, Burisma Official 2 plans to travel to Washington, D.C. and may meet with the CHS sometimes thereafter on the West Coast. During this call, there was a brief, non-relevant discussion about Public Official 1's son, Business Person 1, who is currently on the board of directors for Burisma Holdings. No further information. Emphasis added. Notably, the defendant did not report in the 2017 that the preceding 2 years, Burisma Official 1 admitted to the defendant that he had paid Public Official 1 $5 million when Public Official 1 was still in office, as the defendant later claimed. So that is the entirety of the 1023, everyone, in case anyone is talking about that. C. 3 years later, in May of 2020, the defendant sent the handler a series of messages expressing bias against Public Official 1, who was then a candidate for President of the United States of America and the presumptive nominee of one of the two major political parties. On May 19th of 2020, the defendant messaged the handler the following. It's all over the news in Russia and Ukraine, as well as live calls between redacted and redacted. Smells bad for Public Official 1. On that day, May 19th of 2020, it was publicly reported that a Ukrainian lawmaker who met with late last year released recordings of a private phone call several years ago between Public Official 1 and then Ukraine's president in a new broadside against the presumptive nominee for U.S. president that has raised questions about the foreign interference in the 2020 election. Approximately 20 minutes after his first message on May 19th of 2020, the defendant volunteered his view that Public Official 1 is going to jail. 1 minute later, the defendant opined, Dems try to impeach on May 19th of 2020 Public Official 2 for same, even less. All those politicians, same stuff, jail for all of them, plus bribe of Public Official 1 should be soon in the news. To which the handler responded, only if you believe that his request to get rid of Prosecutor General was only because of Burisma, which by all accounts it was not. 5:58 p.m. The defendant offered the following, for sure, yes, I'll try to prove it for you, bro. To which the handler responded, bribe payment to Public Official 1, or are you talking about the aid withheld unless they fired the Prosecutor General? The defendant then further offered the following. I'll get those other recordings of Public Official 1's son telling to Burisma that his dad will take care of Prosecutor General. Bribe to Public Official 1 and his son. To which the handler responded, that would be a game changer. The defendant then stated, I'll meet with the guys as soon as I will be able to fly. The defendant did not indicate who the guys were. The following day, May 20th of 2020, the defendant messaged the handler a link to an article titled Senate Republicans Issue First Subpoena in Public Official 1 Burisma Probe. Here's the link. The handler did not respond. The next day, May 21st of 2020, the defendant messaged the handler the following. May 21st of 2020, Ukraine opening investigation. Okay, Public Official 1, I think it's going to help him to be elected. We need a new runner. Let me know when you can talk. Have some interesting update. Less than 30 minutes later, the defendant messaged the handler the following. There's a picture here dated 9:42 a.m. Golf clubs here, I guess. This guy's holding 2 golf clubs. Public official 1 and business person 1 was CEO of Burisma. Contrary to the defendant's representation, this was not, in fact, a photograph of public official 1 and business person 1 with the CEO of Burisma. So let's just look at that photo again one more time, everybody. So this is not public official 1 and business person 1, just FYI, just to clarify that. D, 1 month later and 3 years after the first reporting on Burisma, the defendant reported bribery allegations against business person 1 and public official 1. In June of 2020, the handler reached out to the defendant concerning the 2017 1023. This was done at the request of the FBI's Pittsburgh field office, hereinafter FBI Pittsburgh. In the first half of 2020, the United States Attorney's Office for the Western District of Pennsylvania, hereafter USAO WPA, had been asked by the Deputy Attorney General of the United States to assist in the receipt, processing, and preliminary analysis of new information provided by the public that may be relevant to matters relating to Ukraine. As part of that process, FBI Pittsburgh opened an assessment labeled this number, and in the course of that assessment identified the 2017 1023 in FBI holdings and shared it with the USAO WDPA. USAO WDPA then asked FBI Pittsburgh to reach out to the handler to ask for any further information about the reference to his 2017 1023 that stated during this call there was a brief non-relevant discussion about former public official 1's son, business person 1, who is currently on the board of directors for Burisma Holdings. No further information. On or about June 26th, 2020, FBI Pittsburgh contacted the handler regarding the 2017 1023. That same day, the handler spoke with the defendant, who was in Los Angeles, by telephone. The information the defendant provided the handler was memorialized in a Form 1023. Hereafter, the 2020 1023. Oh my goodness. The unofficial record of the FBI, which was finalized on June 30th of 2020. During the call on June 26th of 2020, when the handler asked the defendant about the brief, non-relevant discussion about the former public official's son, business person 1, who is currently on the board of directors for Burisma Holdings, the defendant described for the first time 2 purported meetings and 2 purported phone calls with various Burisma executives who were business person 1 and public official 1 were discussed. The 2 phone calls were in addition to the one the defendant reported in the 2017 1023. This time, rather than a passing reference to business person 1 being on Burisma's board, the defendant claimed that the Burisma executive had at 2 meetings in 2015 and or 2016 during the Obama-Biden administration told him that they were paying business person 1 to protect us through his dad for all kinds of problems, and later that they had specifically paid $5 million each to the public official 1 when he was in office, and that business person 1, so that business person 1 will take care of all of those issues through his dad, referring to a criminal investigation being conducted by the then Ukrainian prosecutor general into Burisma and to deal with the Ukrainian prosecutor general. In describing the phone calls, the defendant claimed that Burisma official 1 said that he was pushed to pay public official 1 and business person 1 and had text messages and recordings that show he was coerced to make such payments, and it would take investigators 10 years to find the records of illicit payments to public official 1. That's a very specific amount of time. The defendant made these statements to the handler in June of 2020, when public official 1 was a candidate for president of the United States and the presumptive nominee of one of the 2 major political parties. Critically, the payments the defendant described occurred, according to the defendant, during the Obama-Biden administration in 2016. when public official 1 was in the position to influence U.S. policy towards Ukraine, and prior to February 2016, when the then Ukrainian prosecutor general was fired, and in any event prior to the change in administrations in January of 2017. Specifically, the defendant claimed the following about the first and second meetings. So this is, again, what's written out by the defendant. First meeting with Burisma executives in Kiev, Ukraine, 2015-2016. In late 2015 or 2016, during the Obama-Biden administration, CHS was first introduced to officials at the Ukraine natural gas business Burisma Holdings through CHS's associate. Alternative transliteration, Associate 1. For the full identification of Associate 1, see attachments 2, and then serialized here. CHS and Associate 1 traveled to Ukraine and went to Burisma's office that was located 20 minutes away from the city center. The purpose of this meeting was to discuss Burisma's interest in purchasing a U.S.-based oil and gas business for purposes of merging it with Burisma for purposes of conducting an IPO in the U.S. Burisma was willing to purchase a U.S.-based entity for $20 to $30 million. At this meeting was CHS's former business partner, Associate 2, USPER, who does not speak who does not speak Russian, Associate 1, Burisma's CFO, Burisma Official 2, the daughter of Burisma's CEO and the founder, Burisma Official 1, and her husband. The conversation was in Russian, and thus Associate 2 did not participate therein. During the meeting, Burisma Official 2 asked CHS whether the CHS was aware of Burisma's board of directors. CHS replied no, and the Burisma Official 2 advised the board members included 1, the former president or prime minister of Poland, and 2, public official 1's son, business person 1. Burisma Official 2 said Burisma hired the former president or prime minister of Poland to leverage his contacts in Europe for prospective oil and gas deals, and that they hired business 1 to protect us through his dad from all kinds of problems. CHS was certain Burisma Official 2 provided no further specific details about what that meant. CHS asked why Burisma needed to get CHS's assistance regarding the purchase merger of a U.S.-based company when the business person 1 was on their board. Burisma Official 2 replied that business person 1 was not smart and that they wanted to get additional counsel. The group then had a general conversation about whether the purchase merger with a U.S. company would be a good business decision. All right. Meeting with CHS, Associate 1 and Burisma Official 1 in Vienna, Austria in 2016. Approximately 1 or 2 months after the aforementioned Burisma meeting in Ukraine, CHS traveled to Vienna, Austria with Associate 1 and met with Burisma Official 1 at an outside coffee shop. The trio continued to talk about the feasibility of Burisma acquiring the U.S.-based entity. CHS recalled this meeting took place around the time Public Official 1 made a public statement about the then Ukrainian prosecutor general being corrupt and that he should be fired or removed from office. CHS told Burisma Official 1 that due to the then Ukrainian prosecutor general investigation into Burisma, which was made public at this time, it would have a substantial negative impact on Burisma's prospective IPO in the United States. Burisma Official 1 replied something to the effect of, "Don't worry, business person 1 will take care of all of those issues through his dad." CHS did not ask any further questions about what that specifically meant. All right, everybody, let's just make a note. We're in Vienna. In Vienna at a coffee shop. CHS asked Burisma Official 1 why Burisma would pay $20 to $30 million to buy a U.S. company for IPO purposes when it would be cheaper to just form a new U.S. entity or purchase a corporate shell that was already listed on an exchange. Burisma Official 1 responded that business person 1 advised Burisma it could raise much more capital if Burisma purchased a large U.S.-based business that already had a history in the U.S. oil and gas sector. CHS recalled Burisma Official 1 mentioned some U.S.-based gas businesses in Texas, the names of which CHS did not recall. CHS advised Burisma Official 1 it would be problematic to raise capital in the U.S. given the then Ukrainian Prosecutor General's investigation into Burisma, as nobody in the U.S. would invest in the company that was subject of a criminal investigation. I think that's an important sentence. Let's just reread that. CHS advised Burisma Official 1 it would be problematic to raise capital in the U.S. given the then Ukrainian Prosecutor General's investigation into Burisma, as nobody in the U.S. would invest in a company that was the subject of a criminal investigation. Interesting. CHS suggested it would be best if Burisma simply litigate the matter in Ukraine and pay some attorney $50,000. Burisma Official 1 said Burisma, would likely lose the trial because he could not show that Burisma was innocent. Burisma Official 1 also laughed at CHS's number of $50,000, not because of the small amount, but because the number contained a 5, and said that it cost $5 million to pay the public official. Wow, everybody, this is getting really ridiculous. And $5 million to business person 1. CHS noted that at this time it was unclear that CHS whether the alleged payments were already made. This is getting really, really ridiculous, everybody. Wow. CHS told Burisma Official 1 that any such payments to Public Official 1 and Business Person 1 would complicate matters, and Burisma would hire some normal U.S. oil and gas advisors because Public Official 1 and Business Person 1 have no experience with that business sector. Burisma Official 1 made some comment that although Business Person 1 was stupid and his Burisma Official 1's dog was smarter, Burisma Official 1 needed to keep Business Person 1 on the board so everything would be okay. What? CHS inquired whether Business Person 1 or Public Official 1 told Burisma Official 1 he should retain Business Person 1. Burisma Official 1 replied they both did. CHS reiterated CHS's opinion that Burisma Official 1 was making a mistake and that he should fire Business Person 1 and deal with the then Ukrainian Prosecutor General's investigation directly so that the matter will remain an issue in Ukraine and not turn it into some international matter. Burisma Official 1 responded something to the effect of, "Don't worry, this thing will go away anyway." What? Are we writing a novel, everyone? CHS replied that notwithstanding the then Ukrainian Prosecutor General's investigation, it was still a bad decision for Burisma to spend $20 to $30 million to buy a U.S. business, and that CHS didn't want to be involved with the Public Official 1 and Business Person 1 matter. Burisma Official 1 responded that he appreciated CHS's advice, but that it was too late to change his decision. CHS understood this to mean that Business Official 1 had paid Public Official 1 and Business Person 1, presumably to deal with the then Ukrainian Prosecutor General. Wow, that was a lot, everybody. The defendant's 2020 story was a fabrication. Oh my goodness. The defendants claim that in late 2015 to 2016, during the Obama administration, he first met with Burisma Official 2, and that the meeting with Official 2 told him that they hired Business Person 1 to protect us from all kinds of problems were false, as he knew. Similarly, the defendants claim that he met with Burisma Official 1 or 2 months later, around that time, that they made the public statement about the then Ukrainian prosecutor being corrupt, and that he should be fired, removed from office, which occurred December 9th of 2015, and that at the meeting, the Burisma official admitted that he paid Business Person 1 $5 million and Public Official 1 $5 million each to do so. Business Person 1 will take care of those issues through his dad, referring to then Ukrainian Prosecutor General's investigation into Burisma, and to deal with the then Ukrainian Prosecutor General were false, as the defendant knew. No such statements were made to the defendant because, in truth and fact, defendant met with the officials from Burisma for the first time in 2017, after Public Official 1 left office in January of 2017, and after the then Ukrainian Prosecutor General had been fired in February of 2016. The first meeting the defendant had with officials from Burisma occurred at a time when Public Official 1 no longer had the ability to influence U.S. policy, and after the then Ukrainian Prosecutor General was out of office. The defendant's story to the FBI was a fabrication, an amalgam of otherwise unremarkable business meetings and contacts that had actually occurred, but at a later date than he claimed, and for the purpose of pitching Burisma on the defendant's services and products, not for discussing bribes to public official one when he was in office. The defendant began to pursue business opportunities with Burisma in the spring of 2017 at the earliest, through two associates of his. Associate one was a Ukrainian business consultant. He was introduced to the defendant by a mutual acquaintance who told Associate one that the defendant was an expert in IPOs and in the United States. The defendant and Associate one subsequently met in Kiev, Ukraine, and the defendant asked Associate one to connect him to business in Ukraine interested in IPOs in the United States. Associate one subsequently identified Burisma as such a company. Associate two was an American who owned a cryptocurrency business. Oh dear. In the spring of 2017, the defendant presented Burisma to Associate 2 as a company that might be interested in cryptocurrency product Associate 2 was trying to commercialize. Around this time, the defendant sent Associate 2 a link to the board of directors of Burisma. The defendant specifically called out the fact that business person 1 was on the board and indicated that because business person 1 was on the board, the defendant thought Burisma was a company with which they could do business. Between March 17th of 2017, when the defendant first reported on Burisma to the handler, in June of 2020, when he first made his false claims about the bribes paid to public official 1 when he was in office directly and through his son, business person 1, the defendant had a series of routine business contacts with executives of Burisma. All of these contacts occurred in 2017 and 2018 when the public official was out of office and after the then Ukrainian prosecutor general had been fired. Specifically, the same day that he first reported on Burisma on March 1st of 2017, the defendant messaged the handler a photograph of a business card for Burisma official 2. So this is March 1st of 2017. And there's that. In response on the same day, the handler asked the defendant, how's Burisma official 2 fit into the story? To which the defendant responded, this is the guy that will do the public company from their side. The handler then messaged the defendant, looks like the CEO or the owner might be Burisma official 1 or either sound familiar? To which the defendant responded with the first name of Burisma official 1. The handler then asked the defendant whether he was meeting with Burisma official 1, to which the defendant responded, no, the guy that I send you the business card. On April 13th of 2017, the handler messaged the defendant asking him, you know who from Burisma will be at the meeting? To which the defendant responded, not yet, we'll know after I will get the email. 4 days later, April 17th of 2017, Associate 1 sent the defendant and Burisma official 2 an email introducing them to each other. That same day, Associate 1 sent another email to Burisma official 2 summarizing in general terms how a company could undertake an IPO in the United States. On or about April 27th of 2017, Burisma official 2 responded to Associate 1's April 17 email. Official 2 thanked Associate 1 for introducing him to the defendant and promised to send the defendant and Associate 1 information about Burisma's desire to buy an oil and gas company in the United States. On or around May 11th of 2017, Burisma official 4, another Burisma executive, emailed Associate 1 telling him that Burisma was not interested in pursuing an IPO in the United States and that their priority was acquiring a U.S.-based oil and gas company. 7 days later, on or about May 18th of 2017, Associate 1 forwarded Burisma official 3's email to the defendant. On July 24th of 2017, the defendant messaged the handler, cutting a deal with Burisma, we'll update you soon, bro, and it's gonna be a contract so we can review it first. On September 16th of 2017, Associate 2, the individual whom the defendant claimed in the 2020 1023, attended the first meeting the defendant had with Burisma executives in late 2015 or 2016. flew from New York to Kiev via London. Associate 2 remained in Ukraine until September 23rd of 2017, when he returned to the United States through London. During the 6-day period that Associate 2 was in Ukraine, he and the defendant met with the representatives from Burisma, including Burisma Official 3, the daughter of Burisma's owner, Burisma Official 1, to discuss cryptocurrency product. The meeting was in Russian, and on the drive back from Burisma's headquarters, the defendant described to Associate 2 what had been discussed. The defendant told Associate 2 that Burisma's representatives were not interested in the cryptocurrency product the defendant and Associate 2 were selling, and were instead trying to find an oil and gas company in the United States that Burisma could purchase. The defendant did not describe to Associate 2 any discussion of Business Person 1 or Public Official 1 during this meeting. On September 19th of 2017, the defendant messaged the handler photographs of business cards for Burisma Official 3. So here it's apparently this is what you do in the FBI if you are giving information. You take pictures of business cards here. The person the defendant claimed he met at the first meeting in late 2015 or 2016 during the Obama administration, and Burisma Official 4, the individual who had sent an email to Associate 1, which Associate 1 then forwarded to the defendant in May of 2017 as described below. I don't know who's writing this novel, but it's not particularly good, everybody. After the September 2017 meeting, Associate 2 prepared a document outlining steps that Burisma could take in order to acquire a company in the United States and use it for an IPO. Associate 2 sent this document to the defendant on September 22nd of 2017. Associate 2's trip to Kiev in September of 2017 was the first time he had left North America since 2011. Thus, he could not have attended a meeting in Kiev as the defendant claimed in late 2015 or 2016 during the Obama administration. His trip to Ukraine in September of 2017 was more than 7 months after Public Official 1 had left office and more than a year after the then Ukrainian Prosecutor General had been fired. On January 23rd of 2018, Associate 2 flew from Los Angeles to London. During the previous week, on January 16th of 2018, the defendant messaged Associate 2 asking him, "Brother, send me the name of the plane in the place in London, please," to which Associate 2 replied, "Baglioni." On January 25th of 2018, the defendant attempted to call Associate 2. Associate 2 responded, "Downstairs getting breakfast," and the defendant responded, "Cool, see you in a few." Both the defendant and Associate 2 were staying at the Hotel Baglioni in London at the time. When Associate 2 was with the defendant in London, the defendant told Associate 2 he had received a call from the owner of Burisma, Burisma Official 1, and that Burisma Official 1 was interested in doing business with them. On January 26th of 2018, Associate 2 flew from London to Kiev, staying until January 30th of 2018. During that 5-day time period, the defendant and Associate 2 traveled to Burisma's headquarters. Once there, they had a brief meeting with Burisma Official 2, who told them that Burisma was not interested in their cryptocurrency product. Back to the crypto, everybody. Burisma Official, that's the smartest thing I've heard in this whole thing. Burisma 2 spoke English during the meeting, and Associate 2 was able to participate. And at no point during this meeting between the defendant, Associate 2, and Burisma Official 2 did Burisma Official 2 tell the defendant that Burisma had hired Business Person 1 to protect us through his dad from all kinds of problems. As described above, all of the contacts that the defendant had with Burisma occurred no earlier than the spring of 2017, after the end of the Obama administration. Notably, the defendant was only introduced to Burisma Official 2 via email on or about April 17th of 2017. Therefore, the defendants claimed that he had met with Burisma Official 2 in late 2015 or 2016 during the Obama administration was false, because if the defendant had met with Burisma Official 2, then he would not have needed Associate 1 to introduce him to Burisma Official 2 in April of 2017, and Burisma Official 2 would not have thanked Associate 1 for introducing them in April of 2017. So we're connecting the very elusive dots, apparently, everyone. As to the second meeting, the one that supposedly happened in Vienna, contrary to what the defendant told the handler, Associate 1 did not meet with the defendant and Burisma Official 1 at the cafe in Vienna around the time that Public Official 1 made a public statement about the then Ukrainian Prosecutor General being corrupt and that he should be fired from office, which occurred in December of 2015. In fact, Associate 1 has never met or spoken with Burisma Official 1. Dun, dun, dun. That's important. Never is underlined. Further, the defendant did not travel to Vienna around the time Public Official 1 made a public statement about the then Ukrainian Prosecutor General being corrupt and that he should be fired or removed from office, which occurred in December of 2015. When the handler interviewed the defendant on June 26 of 2020, the defendant also falsely told the handler that he had 2 phone calls with Burisma Official 1, one in 2016-2017, shortly after the U.S. election, but before the end of the Obama administration, and a second one in 2019. The following is what the defendant told the handler about those 2 calls that was also memorialized in the 2020-10-23 subsequent telephone calls between CHS Burisma Official 1. Oh my gosh, everybody. All right, here we go. 2016-2017, because apparently we don't know when. Telephone call shortly after the 2016 U.S. election, so November, December, we're not sure. And during the Public Official 2 transition period, CHS participated in a conference call with Associate 1 and Burisma Official 1. CHS inquired whether Official 1 was happy with the U.S. election results. Official 1 replied that he was not happy. Public Official 2 won the election. CHS asked the official whether he was concerned about Burisma's involvement with Public Official 1 and Business Person 1. The Official 1 said that he didn't want to pay the Public Official 1 and Business Person 1, and he was pushed to pay them. CHS explained that the Russian term Burisma Official 1 used to explain the payments was puluchili, transliterated by the CHS, which literally translates to got it or received it, but is also used the Russian criminal slang for being forced or coerced to pay. Oh dear, I should stop saying for words I don't know the meanings to out loud. Everybody, I apologize if that's a bad word. I'm sorry about that. Burisma Official 1 stated then the then Ukrainian Prosecutor General had already been fired and no investigation was currently going on, and that nobody would find out about his financial dealings with Public Official 1 and Business Person 1. CHS then stated, I hope you have some backup proof for your words, namely that Burisma Official 1 was forced to pay Public Official 1 and Business Person 1. Burisma Official 1 replied he has many text messages and recordings that show he was coerced to make such payments. See below subsequent CHS reporting on June 29th of 2020. CHS told Burisma Official 1 he should make certain that he should retain those recordings. Burisma Official 1 asked whether it would make any legal difference whether he voluntarily made such payments or if he was forced to make them. Burisma Official 1 then asked CHS whether CHS could provide any assistance in Ukraine with the regime if something were to happen to Burisma Official 1 in the future. CHS replied that CHS didn't want to get involved in any such matters. Note, see previous CHS reported dated March 1st, 2017, here, wherein CHS reported the foregoing and stated the call took place during the week of February 27th of 2017. At the time, CHS stated, Official 1 briefly discussed, look, I'm just going to start saying their names, everybody, all right? It's just too many words, all right? So here we go. Briefly discussed Hunter, but the topic was not relevant to Burisma's interest in acquiring the U.S.-based petroleum business for $50 to $100 million. At this time, CHS also reported aforementioned Official 2, alternative transliteration. Official 2 was assigned by Burisma to manage the acquisition, and he was planning to travel to Washington, D.C. in March of 2017. 2019 telephone call. After the aforementioned 2016 telephone call, CHS had no interaction with Official 1 of Burisma whatsoever until 2019. In 2019, CHS met with Associate 1 in London to discuss various business matters which had nothing to do with Burisma Official 1. We're going to call Burisma Official 1 Bob, all right? Burisma, or the gas oil industry. CHS noted that CHS's meeting with Associate One, we'll just call him Elon, took place at the Russian coffee house near Knightsbridge Street, located near Harrods department store. And after that, Elon's fiancee lives in London. At some point with this meeting, Elon advised CHS he was going to call Bob. At this time, CHS understood Bob was living somewhere in Europe. During the call, Bob asked CHS or Elon if they had read the recent reports about the investigations into Biden and Hunter and Burisma. And Bob jokingly asked CHS if CHS was an oracle due to CHS's prior advice that Bob should not pay Biden and Hunter, and instead to hire an attorney to litigate the allegations concerning the then Ukrainian Prosecutor General investigation. CHS mentioned Bob might have difficulty explaining suspicious wire transfers that may be evidence of illicit payments to Biden and Hunter. Bob responded he did not send any funds directly to the big guy, which CHS understood was a reference to Biden. CHS asked Bob how many companies' bank accounts Bob controls. Bob responded it would take them, the investigators, 10 years to find the records of illicit payments to Biden. CHS told Bob if he ever needed help in the future and wanted to speak to someone in the U.S. government about this matter, that CHS could introduce him to someone. Sorry, everybody. It continues on. Regarding the seemingly open and unsolicited admissions by Bob 2 and Bob 1 about the purpose of their retention of Hunter and the forced payments Bob 1 made to Biden and Hunter, CHS explained that it's very common for a businessman in post-Soviet countries to brag or show off. Additionally, it's extremely common for businesses in Russia and Ukraine to make bribe payments to various government officials. CHS noted that in corporate budgets for other Russian and Ukrainian businesses, which CHS has inspected in the past, CHS observed budget line items, which Russians called this word, but I'm not going to say because it could be a bad word, which literally translates to oil or something making things run smoothly. Yikes! Which companies routinely use to account for anticipated bribe payments. As such, given the pervasive anticipated necessity to bribe government officials in Ukraine and Russia, CHS did not perceive Bob 2 or Bob 1's statement to be unusual, self-serving, or pretextual. Additionally, regarding important business meetings, it's also common in Ukraine and Russia for persons to make covert recordings. However, CHS has only met Bob 1 in person on one occasion and has spoken to him twice on the telephone. As such, CHS is not able to provide any further opinion as to the veracity of Bob 1's aforementioned statements. Associate 1 never spoke to Bob 1 on the phone or in person. Therefore, the defendants claim that Elon called Bob 1 in 2019 is false for the reason as well. Moreover, at no point when the defendant was messaging the handler in May of 2020 about Biden did he mention that he had two purported meetings when Biden was in office in the United States, where Burisma executives told him that they paid Hunter to protect us through his dad with all kinds of problems, and later that they had specifically paid $5 million to Biden and Hunter so that Hunter will take care of all issues through his dad, referring to criminal investigation being conducted by the then Ukrainian Prosecutor General into Burisma and to deal with the then Ukrainian Prosecutor General. I've got to think of another word for that dude too. Nor did he tell the handler he had two subsequent phone calls where Bob told him that he had been forced to pay Biden and Hunter and that it would take investigators 10 years to find records of illicit payments to Biden. This was despite the defendant's stated interest in providing to the handler that the bribe had occurred and his offer to go to Ukraine to meet with the guys to obtain incriminating recordings of Hunter telling Burisma officials that his father could take care of the then Ukrainian Prosecutor General. On June 29th of 2020, the defendant provided further supplemental information to the handler concerning his allegations. These were memorialized in the 2020-1023 before it was finalized and consisted of the following. All right, everybody, here we go. More evidence of the lies regarding CHS's aforementioned reporting that Bob said he has many text messages and recordings that show he was coerced to make payments. CHS clarified Bob said he had a total of 17 recordings involving Biden and Hunter. 2 of the recordings included Biden, and the remaining 15 only included Hunter. CHS reiterated that per Bob, these recordings evidence Bob was somehow coerced into paying Biden and Hunter to ensure the then Ukrainian prosecutor general was fired. Bob stated he had 2 documents which CHS understood to be wire transfer payments to Biden and Hunter were made, presumably in exchange for the then Ukrainian prosecutor general's firing. Regarding aforementioned Elon, alternative spelling here, who originally introduced CHS to the matter, Elon currently works in some office for the administration of something and also works for someone else who is the founder CEO of a cryptocurrency and blockchain technology business. After the defendant made these reports, the FBI asked him for travel records, which he provided in an attempt to determine whether the information he provided was accurate. By August of 2020, FBI Pittsburgh concluded that all reasonable steps have been completed regarding the defendant's allegations and that their assessment was that this case should be closed. On August 12th of 2020, FBI Pittsburgh was informed that the then FBI Deputy Director and then Principal Associate Deputy Director General, could they have longer names, everybody, of the United States concurred that it should be closed. The defendant was interviewed by FBI investigators in September of 2023 and repeated some of his false claims, changed his story as to others of his claims, and promoted a new false narrative after meeting with Russian officials. In July of 2023, the FBI requested that the U.S. Attorney's Office for the District of Delaware assist the FBI in investigation of allegations relating to the 2020-1023. At that time, the United States Attorney's Office for the District of Delaware was handling an investigation and prosecution of Biden. On August 11th of 2023, the Attorney General appointed David C. Weiss, the United States Attorney for the District of Delaware, as special counsel. The special counsel was authorized to conduct an investigation and prosecution of Hunter, as well as any matters that arose from the investigation that may arise from the special counsel's investigation or that are within the scope of 28 CFR section 600.4 sub A. On August 29th of 2023, FBI investigators spoke with the handler in reference to the 2020-1023. During that conversation, the handler indicated that he and the defendant had reviewed the 2020-1023 following its public release by members of Congress on July of 2023, and the defendant reaffirmed the accuracy of the statements contained in it. The handler provided investigators with messages he had with the defendant, including the ones described above. Additionally, the handler identified and reviewed with the defendant travel records associated with both Associate 2 and the defendant. The travel records were inconsistent with what the defendant had previously told the handler that was memorialized in the 2020-1023. The defendant also provided email communications with both Associate 2 and Burisma personnel beginning in 2017 to the handler, which the handler reviewed with the defendant and shared with the FBI investigators. The defendant was interviewed by the FBI investigators on September 27th of 2023. At the start of the interview, the defendant was warned of his duty to tell the truth pursuant to 18 United States Code Section 1001. The defendant repeated his claim that his first meeting with Burisma was much earlier than 2017. He further told investigators that the first meeting was arranged after Elon called him and said that the company wanted to enter the U.S. market either through an IPO or an acquisition. The defendant repeated the claim that Burisma Official 2 was at this meeting and that possibly Bob 4, based on the defendant's recent review of his messages with the handler that included an image of Bob 4's business card, as described above. The defendant told investigators that during this meeting, Bob 2 said something to the effect of, "Did you see my board? I'm not going to be this bad word here," and that no one member of the board, such language, everyone, shocking language, shocking. No one member of the board was the son of Biden. The defendant told investigators that Bob too said, "I'm paying for familia," which the defendant said was a reference to family or last name. Later in the interview, the defendant said he was 100% sure that Elon attended that first meeting. The defendant also told investigators that while he had initially recalled 2 Burisma meetings, after reviewing Associate 2's travel records provided by the handler, along with an email the defendant found, the defendant concluded that there may be 2 to 5 meetings. Later in the interview, the defendant said he did recall that Associate 2 was present for 2 meetings. The defendant told investigators that he had a meeting with Bob 1 at a coffee shop in a German-speaking country, possibly Vienna, as he had previously reported, after 2016 elections, so in late 2016. Then he told investigators he could not recall when it occurred. And then when shown the emails he had with Elon, described above, stated he thought it was after those, which would put it in 2017. Notably, these new and inconsistent statements arose only after the defendant had reviewed messages, emails, and travel information that were in direct conflict with what he reported in the 2020 1023. The defendant also told investigators that the meeting in the German-speaking country, possibly Vienna, occurred because Elon told the defendant that Bob 1 wanted to meet, and the defendant agreed. Later in the interview, he told the investigators that the meeting occurred before the then Ukrainian prosecutor general was reassigned, which was in the early 2016. The defendant told investigators he did not recall talking to Bob 1 ever again after the meeting in the German-speaking country, and did not have any phone calls with Bob after this meeting. The defendant told investigators he had asked the then Ukrainian president to arrange a meeting between himself and the then Ukrainian prosecutor general to talk about Burisma. The defendant told investigators that this meeting occurred before the then Ukrainian prosecutor general was reassigned, which was early 2016. The defendant also told investigators this meeting occurred before his meeting with Bob 1 in the coffee shop in the German-speaking country. The defendant told investigators that after he met with the then Ukrainian prosecutor general, he met with the then Ukrainian president. The defendant did not provide any of this information to the handler in 2020. The defendant also shared a news story with investigators. He wanted them to look into whatever Hunter was recording in a hotel in Kiev called the Premier Palace. The defendant told the investigators that the entire Premier Palace hotel is wired under the control of the Russians. The defendant claimed that Hunter went to the hotel many times and that he had seen video footage of Hunter entering the Premier Palace Hotel. Oh my goodness. The defendant suggested that investigators check to see if Hunter made phone calls from the Premier Palace Hotel, since those calls would have been recorded by the Russians. The defendant claimed to have obtained this information a month earlier by calling a high-level official in a foreign country. Some random official in some random country. Oh my goodness. The defendant also claimed to have learned this information from 4 different Russian officials. Oh my goodness gracious. The defendant told investigators that the 4 different Russian officials are all top officials and 2 are the heads of entities they represent. These Russians said that conversations with Ukrainians about ending the war will include the next U.S. election. The defendant told investigators he was involved in negotiations over ending the war, and that had been for the previous 4 months. According to the defendant, the Russians want Ukraine to assist in influencing the U.S. elections. What? Oh, okay, hold on, backing up. According to the defendant, who is a liar, the Russians want Ukraine to assist in influencing U.S. elections, and the defendant thinks the tapes of Hunter and at the Premier Palace Hotel is all they have. The defendant told investigators he wants them to ask Hunter how many times he visited and what he did while at the Premier Palace Hotel. Hunter has never traveled to Ukraine. I think that's important to note. The few Burisma board meetings that Hunter did attend were all outside of Ukraine. At the conclusion of the interview, the defendant was asked if he wanted to clarify or correct anything he had stated during this interview, and the defendant said he did not need to clarify or correct anything that he said. Oh no, learn about the U.S. elections. No! All right, everybody, we've got 2 counts here, then I'll go ahead and turn on comments. So let's go through the counts. Count 1, 18 U.S. Code 1001, false statements to a government agent. The grand jury realleges paragraphs 1 through 55 of this indictment that on or about June 26th of 2020, the defendant, this dude, did willfully and knowingly make a materially false, fictitious, and fraudulent statement and representation in a matter within the jurisdiction of the executive branch of the government of the United States to a special agent of the Federal Bureau of Investigation to Los Angeles, California, in the Central District of California. That is to say, the defendant claims that in late 2015-2016, during the Obama administration, he met with Burisma, he met with Bob 2, and that their meeting, Bob 2 told him that Burisma hired Hunter to protect us through his dad from all kinds of problems. They were false, and he knew it. The defendant claimed that he met with Bob 1 or 2 months later in Vienna, Austria, around the time Biden made a public statement that the then Ukrainian prosecutor general being corrupt and that he should be fired or removed from office, which occurred December 9th of 2015, and that at the meeting, Bob 1 admitted that he paid Hunter $5 million and Biden $5 million so that Hunter will take care of all of the issues through his dad, referring to the then Ukrainian prosecutor general investigation into Burisma, and to deal with the then Ukrainian prosecutor general were false, and the defendant knew these statements were false. Yikes, everybody. Yikes. The defendant claims that he had a telephone call with Bob 1 in 2016 or 2017, wherein Bob 1 stated he did not want to pay Biden and Hunter, and he was pushed to pay them, that nobody would find out about his financial dealings with Biden and Hunter, and that Burisma and that Bob 1 had many text messages and recordings that show he was coerced to make such payments were false, and he knew it. The defendants claimed that in 2019 he was present when Elon called Bob 1, and Bob 1 stated that he did not send any funds directly to the big guy, which the defendant understood was a reference to Biden, and that Bob 1 stated that it would take them investigators 10 years to find the records of illicit payments to Biden were false, as he knew. The statements and representations were false because, as the defendant then and there knew, the defendant had met with the officials from Burisma for the first time in 2017, after the end of the Biden administration, or Obama-Biden administration. Thus, Biden, then private citizen, had no ability to protect Burisma from all kinds of problems. And there was no discussion of Biden or Hunter at this first meeting with Burisma. The defendant's second meeting with officials from Burisma also occurred in 2017, not at the end of 2015, when Biden made public statements critical of Ukrainian Prosecutor General's office. The second meeting also occurred after public official 1 had left office, so after Biden had left and after then Ukrainian Prosecutor General had been fired in February of 2016. Like the first meeting, the second meeting the defendant had with the officials from Burisma occurred at a time when Biden no longer had the ability to influence U.S. policy. The defendant also did not travel to Vienna, Austria in December of 2015, as he claimed, and there's no discussion of Biden or Hunter at the second meeting. As the phone calls with Bob 1 in 2016 or 2017 and then in 2019. In a subsequent interview with law enforcement in 2023, the defendant told investigators he'd never spoken to Bob on the phone after meeting with Bob in a German-speaking country in 2016, and that his last contact with Bob was the meeting in early 2016. Further, Elon never spoke to Bob on the phone or in person in 2019 or at any other time, in violation of Title 18 U.S. Code Section 1001. That's count 1, everybody. Count 2. The grand jury realleges paragraphs 1 through 55 between on or about June 26th through the 30th of 2020 in the Central District of California. The defendant did knowingly cause the making of a false entry in an FBI Form 1023, a record and document with the intent to impede, obstruct, and influence a matter that the defendant knew and contemplated was within the jurisdiction of the United States Department of Justice, a department and agency of the United States, in violation of Title 18 United States Code Section 1519 and Title 18 U.S. Code Section 2. So there we go. He's charged specifically with putting false information into those 1023s. If anybody's talking about 1023s, that's bad information. All right, everybody, we made it through. So let's go ahead and turn the comments on so we can kind of catch up. Oh, what's going on? But there you have it. Oh my goodness gracious. That was a lot. It was a lot, everybody. It was a lot. Let me make sure my comments will come back on here. Okay. Comments are back on. Hello, everybody. Happy Wednesday. Oh, dear. It was a lot. That was a lot. Hello, everybody. Hi. Good to see everybody. It was a lot. That was a lot of bad information. That was a lot of really bad information. Yeah, this dude's in trouble. This dude's in some trouble. For sure. You know, a couple of things that have just come out, too, as updates. I find this case absolutely fascinating, everybody. I mean, I don't really care about the politics of it. I find it really interesting how this information is given to people and the reliance on it without double checking. So he has been, okay, so right now, everybody, he's in Nevada. And I know I'm saying it wrong. But he's in Nevada because he got arrested when he landed in Nevada. He has been released on his own recognizance, and that is the government's pretty upset about that. We have 2 motions that have been filed. Now, the case itself is a California case, but again, because he's in Nevada, he's, being taken care of in Nevada. So I think they're going to ask for the case to be pulled back into California so that he can be extradited. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. But the big thing, everybody, is that the government is saying, hey, you guys released this guy on his own recognizance, and I think he might be a flight risk. When did the GOP find out he lied? That's a great question. And I do not know. But we do have here a filing just today where the government has said, look, the Nevada judge, which I'm sure is fine, but he's released him. And, we're worried. We've got some worries here. The reason why we're worried, he claims to have contacts in multiple foreign intelligence agencies. He has access to over $6 million in liquid funds. Did not disclose that he had access to $6 million. And then fourth, as an Israeli citizen, he can obtain a new passport at any time. So this was just filed today because they've got some flight risk issues. Yeah, they're definitely worried about him leaving. Yikes, I would be too. I would be concerned about that. Now, the other thing, everybody, I don't know if you're interested. So the following is a declassified summary of additional contacts that predate the contacts referenced above. This summary was prepared by the FBI and has taken several reports. So included in here is a bit more details of a reliable source. I know, more details. So let's just take a look at this one. In or about October of 2023, he reported the following. He was invited to and planned to attend a birthday party of an identified individual in the Middle East, which would include activities on a mega yacht owned by a high-ranking member of Russia's largest steel and mining company. Yikes! He provided the names of individuals who might attend the birthday party activities, including Russian official 1, who he identified as the son of a high-ranking former Russian government official, and Russian individual 1, a high-ranking member of a Russian state-owned defense conglomerate. Yikes! He's got a lot of information stored, everybody. He, I think, knows a lot of people. I'm not sure, why he decided to, go to the wrong side. On or about, yeah, because that's a great question. And I think, anytime we do on or about is because if for some reason that date does come back wrong, we don't want to lose all of that evidence just because of that. So we put it in the range so that we're okay. Wonder if the party had balloons. I don't know. That's not very good for the environment. Oh my goodness, everybody. Super spy. I'm not sure that he was that good of a spy. If he was, allegedly, everybody, allegedly. Oh my goodness gracious. Yes, do not need to, I know. But if you are interested in looking up some more of the details, it is available, everyone. And I'm just not comfortable going through all of the ins and outs of all of this important Russian people. So, but if you are, it starts on page 15. You can go look it up. Again, this was just filed today. Oh my goodness gracious. There's a statement of facts. Yes. There's a lot. There's a lot of great stuff in here. This whole filing, I think, is really very, very interesting to take a look at. So, highly recommend. Elizabeth, yes, indeed, yes. Well, very interesting. Portuguese. I believe you, Francisco. I believe you. When was he let out? So, in addition to this, another statement of facts. Interesting. Okay. Yeah, I've just pulled this before I came on tonight. So I think it was yesterday. I think it was released yesterday. So, and again, we're in Nevada. So he didn't tell about Yo Francisco. I hope not to. You have to keep your name quiet. You have to go by numbers. Oh, I need more support. You do, Navy vet. You do. Oh my goodness. Let me go grab a couple more documents, everybody. I have a few more updates for you tonight, other than this fascinating situation. Oh, goodness. So again, for anyone who's interested in following this case, here it is here. There are two going right now because he was basically pulled over in Nevada, but this case is out of originally California, so it's kind of like a dual situation. But this is the one here where I think it says when he got... Yeah, bond was entered and he was released on his own personal recognizance with conditions. And I thought I had heard he had an ankle bracelet, but I'm not really sure. I can't substantiate that. Yeah, so that was yesterday. Yep. So that's that. Interesting. He has his appearance bond here. Oh, here we go. There we go. This is where I can substantiate it. All right. So submit to the following location monitoring technology. So he was given a GPS here. So I guess that's court ordered. So I can cite to that. So that makes me more comfortable. Yes. So this is again his conditions of release. Here. He's not allowed to go to the airport, everybody. He's only allowed to go to the airport for court. Oh my goodness gracious. Yikes. Thanks for reading this. Oh yeah, of course. This situation, I mean, if you move the politics aside, but you've got someone making some pretty serious claims here. Without much to back it up and being taken seriously. It's like, wow, my mind gets blown. Like, you really got to follow up on that evidence, everybody. You can't just believe it. You've got to follow it up, especially when you have an anonymous source here. Got to watch out for those things. Here's the California case number for anyone who is interested here. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Does he have to stay? Now that I don't know. I think that they're trying to get him moved to California, I think, or get the situation transferred. I'm not exactly sure how the interstate transfer is going here because he's not in custody at the moment. So I'm a little bit unsure of how this is going on too, because he was arrested in Nevada for an original California charge. So he's released OR with an ankle bracelet in Nevada, again, for a California charge. So I'm not sure, but it's a federal charge as well. So those things work at a different level. Jordan could be a bit of trouble. I don't know. I really don't know. I think anyone relying on the 1023s are, like, you've got to back up your evidence. If you're going to use evidence as your linchpin for as the most important piece of your entire argument, if you have a piece of evidence, you have got to confirm that that evidence is legit. I mean, you're not going to be able to stand on evidence that's not legit if you base your entire argument on it. So, will you post this on YouTube? Yes, I will, Lance. Yes, in fact, everybody, I've got probably 5 or 6 posts coming up on my Tube of View channel within the next couple of days. For some reason, I just go like about a week and then I post like about 5 and then go another week. That seems to be the best, but yeah, I mean, maybe. Yeah, I mean, you've got to follow up. You have to follow up. If you have evidence and you want to use that evidence to bring down your enemies, make sure your evidence is legitimate. That's it. That's all. That's all you have to do. That's all there is to it. That's all. Oh my goodness. All right, so here's a couple more updates, everybody, while we're here. So we'll take a break from this fella here because he's going to be struggling a little bit. So couple updates in the world. We have all right, so Mike Lindell. Yeah, exactly. Don't lie, or double check your sources. just double check your sources. Everybody, come on. All right, so Mike Lindell, we had a decision that came out today here. We had an appeal. Let me make sure I know here exactly what was going on. So does everybody remember, Mike Lindell, that pillow fella, the pillow guy was like, hey, show me, what do you say? Prove me wrong and I'll pay you $5 million. So a guy proved him wrong about all of the fraud, the election fraud. So he's like, prove me wrong. And some guy said, okay, here you go, dude. And so he's like, I want my $5 million. And Mike Lindell's like, just kidding. And the courts were like, no, that was legit. You need to pay him $5 million. So they have been going back and forth on whether or not he had to do it. So yeah, I won the case. So at this point, we have another opinion coming down today, everybody, from the United States District Judge here out of Minneapolis. And the order says here, it's hereby ordered plaintiff's motion to confirm arbitration award is granted. So that award has been granted. It has been confirmed. Defendant's motion to vacate that award is denied. Plaintiff is awarded $5 million plus the post-judgment interest beginning April 19th of 2023 to be paid within 30 days of the issuance of this order per the arbitration award. Let the judgment be entered accordingly. So the award of $5 million has been upheld, everybody. So this just came down today. So the judge is like, everybody, come on. See, that's the thing. You can say whatever you want to say, but you've got to be careful because if, you say it wrong, you're going to get called out on it. I mean, and that's exactly what happened here. It's like, prove me wrong about the election fraud. And he's like, okay. Oh, my goodness gracious. Yes. So, the trademark infringement about the red bottoms. I was wondering about that. I thought that someone had a patent or had a trademark on the red bottom shoes, but I'm not sure exactly what that trademark or patent is, what the trademark is. If it's a certain color of yellow or if it's a certain size or what, but that's a fascinating question. I'm going to, the Louis Vuittons. Yep. Yes, yes. I'm not sure exactly what the trademark is though, because you'll have to look at exactly the words of the trademark to see whether or not it's been violated. But yeah, I was surprised to see a red bottom shoe. My goodness. Well, I know Louis Vuitton actually has other kinds of shoes that aren't just dress shoes, and so I believe their trademark goes across all shoes. So, red sole mark. Okay, okay, Louis Vuitton. Yeah, yeah. Contrasting colors. Yes. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I think their men's line is also okay. Interesting. I'm not sure. Is it just for dress shoes? I'm just not sure at this point. I think all of his, yeah, that's what I thought, Cynthia. I think all of his shoes are, but I'm not sure how far the trademark goes, everybody. So I'd have to pull the trademark up, the language. He has tennis shoes. Okay. All shoes. Okay. Yeah, I would have to pull up the trademark. I think there's some question out there. But my first thought was, was it dress shoes? And then also, what was that guy's name? Louis Vuitton. As you can tell, I have multiple pairs. I don't remember the name of the shoe, but there you go. Oh my gosh. Yeah, it'd be very interesting. I have no idea. I know. I certainly don't have any. I'm more of a, I want to be able to walk in my shoes. I need to be able to run away if I have to. Oh my gosh. Yes, Louis Vuitton, not Louis Vuitton. Yes, yes. Thank you, Jess. My enunciation isn't good. Right, not the luggage guy, but the red shoe guy, the other designer. I got you. I got you. Yes, was I not saying it? Louis Vuitton, right? Louis Vuitton. Yeah. I'm probably not pronouncing it correct. Pantone red shoe. Okay, red sole. Okay. No, 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 Jess, no problem. Yeah, no, no. I know that they're different, but I'm glad we clarified that. Yeah. Oh my gosh, I've seen the luggage sets for Louis Vuitton. That looks amazing. But no, we're talking about the red shoe designer fella. That's right, right. Air Felon was Christian, not Louis. Christian. I probably was messing up that first name. I'm so glad you all can set me straight. I appreciate that. I think it might be the specific color of red. Well, I'm wondering. Yeah, I'm wondering about that. Prada has red sole shoes. Interesting. Louboutin. Louboutin, yes, also. Just say it really fast, everybody. Well, we all know the red soles, right? The red soles. You're not allowed to do the red soles. I think it's interesting. We'll have to see. We'll have to see how this shakes down. Christian. Yeah, I'm wondering if I kept saying Louis instead of Christian. I knew what I meant in my head, everybody. Just not in my head. You have to be inside of my head to understand. Oh my goodness. It'll be interesting. We'll keep an eye on it. All right, everybody. The next thing that has come down to here also, just an update quick. This was just yesterday. We have a notice of appeal out of the Giuliani case. So we had this question that came out regarding his defamation case. If everyone remembers, we have the two elections. We had this question that came out regarding his defamation case. If everyone remembers, we have the two election workers who, were defamed, terribly defamed, and he was found guilty of that. And so we had the judgment that came down. It was, what was it? It was, gosh, the numbers are so huge, everybody. It was like originally like 162, wasn't it? And then it was bumped down a little bit to something else. But we're in, that could be dangerous. True story. True story, maybe that would be very dangerous. Yikes, you'd just be constantly hit by historical Supreme Court cases. Like, well, this is boring. True, true. Yes. Oh my goodness. Yes. So the original case, let me see if I printed out the other thing I needed. Yeah. So he did file for bankruptcy, everybody. So with filing for bankruptcy, he was allowed to file an appeal so long as he wasn't using his own money. 148. Thank you. Thank you. 148. All right, so this amount so this amount, he had put his notice in, he had filed bankruptcy, he was allowed. He did file a renewed judgment, so motion for a judgment as a matter of law. So he was trying to get it thrown out, everybody. And of course, as you know, you actually have to have grounds to throw stuff out. So he did ask the court to grant a judgment as a matter of law in order to grant on his favor, and that of course is not going to work ever. But so he has filed another appeal saying, hey, can you please throw out the judgment? And then also a regular appeal saying, I would like to appeal this to the next level. So yeah, so we've got two of those. I chuckle only because of the absurdity of the entire situation, not at the seriousness of this case, because this is one of the worst, one of the absolute worst cases of defamation and harm done that I've seen. So pretty awful, but this was also just filed. And then I've got one more update. Let me go grab it. Okay. Did you type it? Yeah, no. Nope. So the last update that I've seen for today that I really thought was interesting was we do have a bit of an update out of the Florida case, just a bit. So I don't want to spend too much, I mean, there's not much to spend time on, really. Yes, so this is the documents case out of Florida, everybody. So as we know, we've had some questions with Judge Cannon. We've had a motion to reconsider filed by the government here. So we had a motion that was filed by Mr. Trump regarding more motions. So we have pretrial motions that are not motions in limine that are due this week, actually due tomorrow. He had filed a motion to set out some different ways of doing this. So she put in an order, a paperless order, denying in part with instructions. So I thought it would be worth it to read through this huge paperless order. Like, ma'am, write an order. Yes, he is appealing his case. Rudy is appealing his case. That's really it. Yep. All right, let's take a look. So we have a paperless order denying in part with instructions. So this is very instructive, everybody, this paperless order. Defendant Trump's motion for leave to file consolidated brief in support of pretrial motions. All pretrial motions shall be filed on an individual basis to permit clear adjudication of the legal factual issues presented, and to facilitate record clarity and scheduling. So each separate motion can be filed separately so that she can deal with each legal issue, is what she's saying. Further, all pretrial motions shall state with particularity the filing party's position on the need for a hearing on the motion, which you should pretty much do. And if a hearing is requested, providing additional specifics on recommended scope, format, and sequencing. So she's now starting to ask them to be extremely specific, apparently. The court hereby enlarges the page limit for individual pretrial motions and responses to 25 double-spaced pages. So each motion can be filed at 25 pages each. Exclusive of attachments with respect to defendant Trump's request to publicly file redacted versions of certain pretrial motions on a temporary basis, the court denies that request without prejudice. So he may not file the redacted information. He was really pushing on that without prejudice and orders as follows. On or before February 22nd, defendant Trump shall submit via email to the special counsel in the court final unredacted copies of all pretrial motions with attachments, which is as it should be. That's as it should be done. The parties shall promptly confer on all sealing redaction issues presented on the motions. Following such conferral, any party wishing to seal redact anything in pretrial motions shall file a consolidated motion for a leave on or before February 27th, specifying the particular legal and factual basis shielding the pretrial filings. So we're just talking about court filings. We're not even talking about the motions in limine, but within the court filings, there could be some information that should not be given to the public. So Trump's like, well, I'll just redact it and file it anyway. And she's like, no, we're going to go through the proper channels. You need to give it to Jack. You need to show it to me. You need to explain why this needs to be public and the redacted pieces need to be unredacted so we can see it. So, okay. Consolidated oppositions to such requests for sealing redaction are due on or before February 29th. So we've got a February 27th date to add, February 29th date to add here. With respect to forthcoming pretrial motions that reference or attach discovery materials, the public filing deadline of February 22nd and associated response reply is hereby stayed pending resolution of the ongoing sealing redaction disputes generated by numerous pretrial filings in this case. Pretrial motions that do not implicate potential sealing redaction concerns shall be filed publicly on February 22nd. So for any of the filings that they need to talk about that are going to have redactions on it, it's okay if they file it, but then they need to wait in order to get decisions. I'm sorry, not filing it. For those that need special decisions, it's okay if they're late. All of the other motions need to be filed then. Standard to want separate motions. Yeah, I think so. I mean, is it standard in this kind of a case? Yeah, I mean, he wants, let me back up. This judge wants everything to be very tidy and orderly so that she can be careful and go through each issue in case it needs to be appealed. I think she's being super extra careful. I think, the problem is when you have all of this is that Mr. Trump's frivolous motions aren't getting knocked. She's not knocking him down. So if he wants to file a bunch of frivolous, bologna sandwiches, 25 pages each, he can. She's letting him do that rather than, kicking them out, which a normal judge would do. So that's the only thing that I see as really problematic here, is that she's not really saying, no, this is a bologna sandwich and, you can't file this kind of stuff. But all the filings can come in. So I would say that's definitely a bit of a problem. To the extent defendants not in De Oliveira anticipate discussing or attaching discovery materials and additional pretrial motions, procedures set forth in this order shall apply. And then she signed it here. Can't the other attorney complain? Well, yes, that's exactly right. So for each motion, everybody, again, we have to remember for each motion from the defendant, then there is a response from the government. And then technically there can be a reply from the defendant, and she's saying you can request a hearing, but you need to explain why, which I think is good. I think that that's a good addition. So for each motion, you can ask for a hearing for each one. Now, if you look at what Judge McAfee's doing in Georgia, is he bundles. He's a bundler, and I really appreciate that. He's like, look, we got 15 motions. Everybody wanted hearings, so, let's set them up and knock them down. So he sets a couple of days for hearings, and you just go through motion after motion after motion. Will she do that? Who knows? There's no way to know with Judge Cannon what she's going to do. Bonnie should recuse. No, I don't think so. I don't think there's any legitimate legal ground for D.A. Willis to be removed from that case whatsoever. There's absolutely no legitimate legal grounds. Current topic, Florida documents. Yes. So I'm hopping all over the place because I'm just talking about Judge McAfee. So, right. So what she's saying here is that if you've got documents that you're going to file, or if you've got motions that you're going to file with redactions, you need to go talk with Jack, talk with me first before you file them. All the other motions need to be filed tomorrow on time properly. And those with the redactions or proposed redactions, then there can be a response back on the 27th and then a reply back on the 29th, and then we'll talk about it further. Yep. So it's really interesting. She's being extremely specific about what she wants and how she wants everything divided. But again, we're in a paperless order. Like if you want something this specific done, ma'am, put it in an order. Put your own order there. Not this kind of like paperless order that we're just like tossing onto the docket. Like, we're all like magnifying glass trying to figure out what she's talking about. Like, set it out like you would a normal order. So I think I'm frustrated with her paperless orders. And you may say, what's a paperless order? Well, a paperless order is just literally just that. We don't have an order. We have a notation in the docket. Now, is it as important as an order? Yes. But is it set out something like this where you have an opinion in an order? No. So it's kind of a pain in the keister. It's kind of like a quick and dirty way to get something done quick on the docket and then move on. It's not where you're going to put out details like this that you want on specific ways that you want certain things filed. Like, in my opinion, maybe this is somehow what they do in, Florida. But I don't know. I'm wondering if someone's talking to her now behind the scenes. I'm wondering too, everybody, because this is actually... despite the fact that it's a paperless order, and despite the fact that she's like, okay, you can have 25 pages per order or per motion, and we have no idea if she's going to knock down his frivolous filings because she hasn't before. But other than that, it's actually pretty good. I think it's a really good a really good order. She's making sense, and she's clarifying, like, look, dude, you're not going to be able to file your redacted stuff. Maybe you could before, but we're not doing that anymore. Seems like she's kind of putting her foot down here. But I think we're noticing her putting her foot down because she just didn't have any feet before. You know what I'm saying? So this is like the bare bones minimum that she should have been doing this whole time, but now we're in place. And I think she's doing that because, we've got that motion for reconsider on file. And every single thing at this moment going forward, is something that Jack Smith can put together in order to do an interlocutory appeal. So I think she's just kind of taking care to be extra careful, but it may be too late for that, but I don't know. It'll depend on what Jack wants to do. I use Jack's first name because Smith is just such a common name, so it seems like you know who I'm talking about if I say Jack as opposed to Smith. So I mean no disrespect. She's been careful to guide him until it gets to the point where she has to explain. Yeah, exactly. So, this is such an important issue, and the fact that she's already kind of allowed some of the information that the government would have preferred to have had be private, it's already kind of, some bits and pieces have come out that could technically be appealable. I think she's at a point now where she's trying to be more careful. Is her career over? No, I don't think so. Again, I think she's just really inexperienced, and she's incredibly inexperienced, and you can be inexperienced, but you can't be inexperienced to a point where it affects justice. You can't do that. That means you need to be moved off of the case. Are we there yet? I don't know. I really don't know, but there's definitely some really big questions to be asked. Right, exactly. You know who I'm saying when I'm saying Jack. You know who I'm saying. You know who I'm talking about when I'm saying it's Jack. For sure. But yeah, again, she put out this order. Now, this is just one paperless order, everybody. Let me show you. She's got one more on here, too. All right, so let me walk you through this last one. We're talking about Jack Smith and Judge Cannon here. So one more paperless order regarding scheduling sealed ex parte follow-up telephonic hearing with counsel for defendant Trump on February 23rd. So we've got another, just so that we know, we've got another hearing here. Defense theories to be discussed in conjugation with special counsel SIPA 4 motions and defendant Trump's Section 4 challenges, 30 minutes reserved. So she set a 30-minute telephone hearing for Mr. Trump to go through his defense theories. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. All right. No classified information to be referenced. And then call-in information is here. So defendant's attendance is not required. So it looks like she's setting 30 minutes to give the defendants a chance to talk. So we're going to have a chat. We're going to have a little chat session here. She's following her school teachers. Oh, my format. True, true. Can you make a judge's card? I'm not sure. I probably should. But yeah, so we've got that set up as well. So that's her last paperless order. Yes, her first name is Eileen. Eileen Cannon is her name. So Judge Cannon here. Judge Cannon. And then we have Judge Chutkin is DC. All right, she's our DC case judge. And then we have Judge McAfee, which I'm going to spell incorrect. I'm sorry. And that is not how you spell his name. He's in Georgia. And I have forgotten the New York judge's name. Everybody, who's the New York criminal judge? It's like 5 letters. I can't remember. But then we've got one more judge here in New York. I should know his name, but he's really only come in lately. No, Angaran was our civil judge. You're correct on that. You got that, Snappy. He was our civil judge. Absolutely. But we've got our criminal judge. Merchant, Mads, thank you. Merchant. No, wait, Juan. Okay, wait, Merchant. I'm spelling it wrong. Okay, is it A-N? All right, so then we've got New York. So there we go. It's Penn. Okay, Merchant. Oh my gosh. Oh, thank you, everybody. Thank you. Mershon. Okay, Mershon. Thank you, Mershon. Got it. Juan Mershon. All right. So yeah, so those are our judges. And with Judge Mershon, I've not really watched that very carefully because again, these are the big cases here. But now that we're in the trial zone, everybody, we got to start taking a look at that for sure. So earlier this week, I did take Monday night and Tuesday night off, but Monday morning, I did do a live where I put together visual aids or demonstrative evidence of all of the documents, the business records, because it's all a records case in New York, everybody. I'm talking about New York. We're talking about records. We're talking about 34 records with false information. So that's what's going on there. So that I did put together, but we are in the trial zone here for New York, so that'll be my primary focus. We need flashcards for the I know, everybody. I know. So right now we're kind of waiting to see what's going to happen with the Florida case with Judge Cannon. I don't know. We've got some orders that are supposed to come out this week. We'll see what happens. With the DC case, at this point, we are waiting on SCOTUS, right? So we're waiting on that ultimate immunity question for SCOTUS on whether or not they're going to stay or if they're going to not stay. So this one is still paused. In Georgia, we finished the, whatever. I'm not sure if we finished the, evidentiary hearings. There was some, I don't know, I can't talk about it. It's too frustrating, everybody. We're waiting. Nothing's been set at this point. So March 25th, everybody, is the date set for the New York documents case. So we've got fraudulent documents here. All right, so false records. So that's March 25th is when that is set. And then the next case technically set is the Florida case, which is set for May. Is that right? It's set in May, isn't it? The first week in May? I think that's right. Coffee closing statements for Friday or Monday. Okay. All right. Fair enough. Well, it's a lot. It's a lot to keep track of because there's other things going on too. Like just yesterday, Powell, everybody, remember our friend Powell and Lynn Wood had an appeal up to SCOTUS regarding their admonishment. So they were given an admonishment out of the Michigan case for their false election filings, and SCOTUS just denied cert. That was just yesterday, so that just happened. And then we have Eastman and Clark are still fighting to keep their licenses. That's still ongoing. We don't have decisions yet for them. So that's been going. We had new filings in Nevada, I think. We're still missing Arizona, but when it came to the fake electors, so those cases were just done. The Blessing Game case, everybody, that is the civil lawsuit out of DC, the DC officers, and that's going to be getting set as well. We just had that motion to dismiss denied, so the Blessing Game case is going to need to be set for trial. So that's also going on here. And lest we forget, we still have Powell with Dominion. We have the Dominion case. We still have the pillow guy. We still have Dominion. So we've got defamation going on here. We also have Steve Bannon with money laundering. So his money laundering case is the third one, actually. He's set in May as well. So he's got a May trial date if he doesn't settle that. So that's going on too. So there's a lot. Yeah, they won't hear the appeal. But the Blessing Game case is, that's a pretty big situation. And then we've got SCOTUS waiting on the stay. And then we also have, of course, the 14th Amendment question in Colorado that we're waiting on. So those are the big ones. And then, of course, we have the employee lawsuit, technically with Miss Haba involved. That's just been filed not too long ago. Jacked up their lives. Yeah, they really did. They really did, everybody. I mean, there's a lot. There's a lot going on. Oh, and that reminds me, I think too, Ellis is about to lose hers as well. So, yep, there's a lot going on. It's time to see the shoes. I know, right? Right. So, yeah. I wonder if they still think it's worth it. That's a good question. That's a really good question. I mean, I don't know. That's a great question. Yeah. I still wonder how much fear played in all of this. I think fear makes you do weird things, everybody. Yes, so that's the Blessing Game case. Yeah, the Capitol Police. Yep. We're in Georgia. I don't have much on Georgia at the moment. I just don't. The last thing we had were, what was his name? We had the Floyd demur that was challenged recently. I think Clark actually put in a showing as well. We still have appeals going on with the Clark case where he's trying to that was Meadows. Meadows still was appealing to try to get his case moved. That's actually technically, there's still an appeal going on that. But the primary thing was that we had this Roman motion that took up so much of our time in Georgia because he asked for disqualification. He asked for D.A. Willis to be disqualified with no legal grounds. But Cliff Notes of Haba being sued. Sure. So I can't remember the employee's name. No, it's on the tip of my head, or tip of my tongue, top of my head. So there was an employee who was working at, something in New Jersey. And she was in a really hostile work environment, a really not good, according to her complaint. So she has sued for that. She had a boss that was just out of control. She knew she was in trouble. She was trying to get an attorney to do it. The reason why Haba's involved is because it's alleged in the complaint that Haba was like, oh, it's not that big of a deal. I'll take care of it for you. Meanwhile, Haba was representing Mr. Trump, who of course is the defendant because she's suing the Trump Corporation, because her employer was the bad guy and he worked for the Trump Corporation. So for Haba to jump in and say, Ma, you don't need an attorney, I'll help you out, is a huge conflict. That's an actual conflict of interest, unlike what's going on in Georgia. So that lawsuit has been filed. There has not been any movement on it yet, but the timelines, there won't be for a little bit. Yeah, the golf course. Yep, that's right. Judges having private meeting. Yeah. Yes, Bedminster. Thank you very much. I wonder if he had anything to do with... Oh, I don't know. I don't know about that. It's a good question. I mean, I'm not into conspiracy either, but there's just so much going on, And then, of course, we have Eugene, bless her, who had her 2 cases that have finished. But she may file another one. There may be another one coming. Yeah, that's not on the docket. This isn't on the docket. It's just what has taken up the time because it was the most recent motion filed by Roman. Yeah. Client privilege. Yep. Covey's decision is not posted yet. Yeah, he's not posted. He's got a pretty good head on his shoulders. So I can see where he's coming from. It's frustrating. It's hard to watch situations like that when you see him coming. When you see him coming for somebody, all makes my head spin. Yeah, I mean, it seems like a lot, but I know I'm missing something too. I'm missing a couple. I'm feeling uncomfortable, everybody. I'm missing something. I'm trying to think. I'm like, wait, I'm missing a couple cases. The other cases that I've been looking at are Trump University. I've been trying to find that one, and we've got the Trump Core company tax fraud case. That was another 1 point something million. I'm still looking in on those cases. So pending IRS investigation. Yes, that's another one. The IRS situation, which is real hush hush. It's hard to find any information on that one. What about the video phone lawsuit? Video phone. I'm not sure what you mean. Trump phone. Something with Alvin Bragg. Is that his name? ACN. Oh, you're going to have to be more... Yeah, Stormy's here. Stormy's in New York. Can you be more specific? What about the charity? So that would be Steve Bannon's money laundering. Anything on yeah, I suppose we could always add Giuliani on here, shouldn't we? Giuliani. So he's appealing right now. He's in a state of appeal as well as a state of bankruptcy. Oh, the phones. Yeah, I'm not sure what you mean by the phone. The video phone lawsuit in Virginia. Okay. I must be... How did I miss that, everybody? I'm not sure what it is. Yeah, this is Stormy's in New York. He promoted a video phone company that turned out to be bad. He was a spokesperson. Okay. Oh, right. Okay, I got you. Okay. Yep. Yep, I got you. He tried to sell phones. Yeah. So, yeah, and he bought oh my gosh, everybody. He bought some football team. Also, I mean, come on. There's a lot in there. There's a lot. As well as the state of insanity. Trying to sell a video landline phone. Yes. Doe at all Trump. Okay. I'll have to... Yeah, I'm trying to keep... I feel like I'm still missing something, though. I feel like I've got... So Powell, Woods in there. We've got... I guess Cheesebro is... I don't know what Cheesebro's doing. He was still... The NFL wouldn't let him buy a team, and rightfully so. Oh my gosh. He did win that lawsuit, though, I think. So much criming. Yes! So much. Yes, the 14th Amendment. So we're waiting right now. We still have a 14th Amendment Colorado case. Did he steal from a charity? Now, I don't know if he stole. I do have... Steve Bannon's got some money laundering, and I think Miss Powell's got some questions, too. Although I think she set up her charity in a way that it's been okay. Yeah, arena football. That's right. It's about the Trump Foundation. Okay. Hmm. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I know that I'll have to take a look at that. That's a lot of notes. Yeah, I know. I feel like I'm missing something. Cancer charity. Really? Oh my goodness gracious. Okay. Okay. Yeah, I only know about Powell's charity and Bannon's charity. So, need a chart. I know this isn't the best, everybody. No. Only the highest of qualities here. Oh my gosh, Trump University. Yes, I've got Trump University here. Oh my goodness, we need a whiteboard. I know. I have to update it, everybody. I know. Oh my gosh. Football. Yes. So, yeah, current $50 million loan. Okay. Gucci's gold tennis shoes. Yes, we're waiting on that one. Oh my gosh. Yes, Trump steaks. Oh my gosh. And Trump vodka, right? Uh-oh, I can't say the V word. I gotta be careful. Oh my gosh. Sneakers. No! Oh, how soon before the fight? Oh my gosh. Yeah, I need to make a chart. I'm right now, everybody, I'm still working on the Batman villain chart. And I'm quite pleased with it. It's coming together nicely, so I will have it for you. So that's one of the things in progress that I'm working on. And then I also have my ethics. I've got the ethics live. I still want to put that together. I still have motions pulled to the side for that. So I still have lots of things. I still have lots. Oh my gosh. Yeah, those. Oh my gosh, I know. Oh, my two poor cats. They're both like in antibiotic land. Oh, Bry Guy. Oh. Yes, Meadows was sued for the book deal. Oh, that's right. Thank you. That's right. Oh, the book deal. Yeah, they weren't very happy with him. They're like, dude, you said you weren't lying. I feel like I need a lobotomy. I know, everybody. But if you just squish it down and put it all in one place, it's not as painful, I guess. But I guess, yeah, it was a great catch. Excellent. Yeah, I should make a giant chart. I had one before, but I'll have to get it together. Oh yeah, the Trump water. Can't forget about that. Oh, goodness gracious. How far are we going back? Oh my goodness. Just call this stormy waters. No! No. Yeah, poor New York. All right, well, yeah, Navy. Work on it. Yeah, we got to get some together, everybody. We got to get some together for sure. $6 billion in legal fees. It's a lot. Oh yeah, Grandma, I think it is about ready to start going. So with that, everybody, I should probably go ahead and sign off. I am planning to come back again tomorrow night, and I will be back at my 7 o'clock Central Time, everyone. I'm not exactly sure what I will have because there should be a whole bunch of filings tomorrow in Florida. So I should have a stack out of Florida. Again, I am waiting to see what's going to happen with Georgia as well, but I will keep you all posted. So, how's he not having a constant panic attack? I think he might be. He's just hiding it, I think it's really hard. Oh, good to see you, Kristen. Good to see you. Yes, well, thank you, everybody, for coming by and hanging out with me. Always good to see you all. So, take care, everyone. Again, I will be back again tomorrow at 7 Central. So, we'll be hanging out. Thanks for breaking it down. Oh, absolutely. My pleasure. I just hope I can pull a little bit of stress off of people if we understand a little bit better. So, but have a great night, everyone, and I will be back again tomorrow. So take care, everybody.